My name is Mathias, Gardner. I was in Dushawn Bey, Tajikastan, and I'm a European Studies major. The group I worked for was called International Trade Center. It's a UN development program based in Geneva, but they operate field offices in developing countries around the world. Day to day, it was kind of different. I did proofreading a lot of the time of project documents, since they needed a native English speaker to do that. I also was able to participate in conferences and workshops for the companies we worked for, as well as our donor organization. And I also was able to do consultation sessions on marketing and product development with the companies we work with as well. I worked with people just from Tajikistan mostly. They all had education in the United States, and so they spoke English very well. The office was relatively small. We had my supervisor, his assistant, myself, our driver, and then we had a number of consultants that worked with us as well and would come in and out depending on what they were working on at the time. My favorite project was probably working on the trade brochure for the industry that we were working for. They needed to make a brochure to send out to prospective trading partners, letting them know what the companies did, what products they produced, and how they could get in contact with them. I worked on that extensively to try to reorganize it and refine the English version, which was one of the biggest projects I worked on while I was there. One of the most rewarding things that I did while I was there was meeting young people who were at university level who were learning English. I volunteered for the second half of my internship with the American Corners program, where I would lead discussion groups with a number of university students and help them learn English. And by doing that, I got to meet a lot of very nice young people and get to see what their perspectives were on their country, where they thought it was headed, and that was a very neat experience for me. I got to meet a number of expats from Europe, from all over the world basically, and that was also a unique experience because they have very different perspectives than I do on a lot of things. And I got to speak with very, very interesting, highly qualified people from around the world. For me, most beneficial, I think, was the preparation I did just as far as taking a wide variety of classes and then doing individual research before going to find out more about the organization, to find out more about the country, the culture, the language. That was the thing. Those are the things that prepared me best. The prep course definitely helped hone my writing skills to be more concise and just get me ready to do the writing I was going to be doing in the organization. I actually was able to make it work through a number of combinations of resources. I actually had my parents help me with some of the cost, with the understanding I'll pay back later. I also took loans to help offset the cost. I went during spring and summer when I normally would have worked, but it was an experience I didn't really want to pass up, so I did what I had to make it work. I was only able to travel within a couple miles, well, a couple hours I should say, of the capital. It was pretty restricted because of the nature of the country. It is developing, the infrastructure isn't really built up enough to be able to travel extensively. I was able to do mostly hiking on the weekends with a tourist agency there with a number of expats. And so the furthest we ever went was probably about 100 miles away from the capital, which was great. I still loved it. Besides that, I wasn't able to travel very much in the region. The region is sort of unsettled, so it was a little difficult to get around. I think I most benefited from the internship just because I had my mind open on a lot of issues. The work I was doing was business related, which is very interesting in an international context, but even more so in a developing country. Seeing how to apply parts of my education that I've studied so far to working internationally and international development was fascinating. I loved that. And it was also great to meet the people. The culture was so warm that it just made the experience totally worthwhile. And I got to see something I never would have seen otherwise, and it was a great experience. Not necessarily doing the same thing I was doing on my internship, but it definitely gave me ideas about things I would like to do in the future. As far as helping out, making a difference in the world, I think that's something I learned, I took away, I really want to commit to in the future, is making a bigger difference however I can. You know, whether it's just a small microfinance contribution or anything like that. There's ways to get involved that I learned about, and I look forward to doing those in the future as well. I would recommend the internship program in general to another BYU student. My particular internship had a lot of variables that weren't necessarily the same as others. The environment, the location was very different. I would say that a BYU student who was adaptable and ready for those things would definitely be interested in this internship. It's a unique experience within our program to go to Central Asia and work on development. So I would recommend it to someone who was interested in that environment.